Good morning. I got all kinds of smudge going on here. Gonna smudge these cards. Sending out some ravens. I know people need some good positive energy right now. Okay. Yeah, I was burning cedar and sage. Yeah, cedar, that comes from the Haida-Gwaii, that piece. Remember, I told you, go look up the Haida-Gwaii, Google it. Haida-Gwaii. Magical place. Yeah, and I'm getting ready to go there for my yearly reboot. It's where I reboot my spiritual energy. I just love it. Okay, let's see what we got here today. Okay, just gonna feel. Oh, that one wants to be on top. If you use your left hand to choose, you'll always choose right. Your left hand knows, just let it choose. Don't get too intellectual about choosing a pile. Okay, so we've got the moon there. The moon. So a situation around you is really up in the air. Okay, there seems to be a hold up in the past. Something was held up, someone was held up. There's some kind of and not seeing how to get out of a situation is what that feels like. Not seeing your way out of something in the past. And right now it looking a little up in the air too, because that moon, and fearful, there's fear around it. Yeah, the moon is interesting. And it may somehow the energy around this feels like it might have been created partly by astrological scariness. You know, we just went through some really intense, like on the 16th, we had a full moon in a retrograde in Capricorn on an eclipse. None of that's good. And Capricorn being authority and trouble with, powers that be, authority, repression, things like that. So it could have felt really intense and not very pleasant that couple of days there, 16th, 17th, like that. Okay, so a hurtful situation that feels like it's not been resolved yet is around some of my viewers here. Okay, there's a hurtful situation, and hurt more than one person, but one person in particular. And it feels like there's a lot of unknowns around the situation at this point, but things have been put into motion. We've got that 7 of Pentacles. Things are put into motion, it looks like. And there's going to be a need for patience and perseverance to kind of get to the bottom of this situation and also clear it up and or heal it up, right? Remember that 3 of Swords? That card is a work in progress healing. So it's important to speak about what happened or how somebody feels about what happened, and then to let it go and not hang on to it as the hurtful victimization that it could have felt like, which of course those kind of, hurtful things we do feel victimized by them. But this card says, so talk it out to who you need to talk to, and then clear it out of your energy, because you don't want to hang on to being a victim. And then try to find a way to talk about your situation, so somehow you recognize a teaching for you and a healing for you. And I know that's not always easy to do. Okay. Yeah. So empowering yourself through the situation, figuring out what you were teaching yourself being in that situation. Okay, so we've got the 9 of Wands here. So the 9 of Wands, the outcome, the 9 of Wands. Okay, something's going to take time to heal this situation entirely. I feel like it's going to take time because this card takes its time. And a lot of energy has to be expended first. But you have the energy, whoever's watching who needs to hear this, you have the energy okay, and you have the integrity and the truth is on your side. Use your magic, okay, use your magic. This is using your Wiccan and or your pagan woman and your strong intuitive self, that kind of thing. Use your magic. And there's a certain person in particular who's really going to shift this situation, who's really going to help with this situation. A woman. She's a fire sign woman or very powerful, intuitive, psychic kind of woman who's going to really push this situation right to the end of where it needs to go and come out using magic to heal the situation. Okay. Overviewing here. We've got, yeah, so it's literally going to take time and effort, and that's hard to hear, I'm sure, because probably a lot of time and effort's gone into it already. Time, effort, looking at things from a different perspective, not to fall into, any kind of patterns, and help whoever's involved, not to fall into any kind of patterns of, a self-doubting, loathing, which things like that can happen when people go through hard situations. They can beat themselves up or turn it on themselves, right? And I feel like somebody around the situation has a pattern of doing that and isolating themselves. And I feel like that wouldn't be what to do here. Try to connect with everybody involved and keep connected. Excuse me. The voice is going here. Keep connected and let the person, even a little shouting it out and doing physical movement, so playing sports or running or biking or something, some kind of physically working it out. This person, whoever's involved here, and I'm not talking about, there's a woman strongly involved here who's going to use her magic, wisdom, and intuition and integrity to really push this through to an outcome where everybody can feel healed and move on from. But I feel like there's another person involved in the situation, and that person is going to tend to isolate and maybe have a lot of conflict. And it'll add to their personal inner conflict if it's allowed to. And I'm thinking really some work on, I wonder if some counseling might help, and some just working it out through sports and physical activity. That's kind of what that feels like. Yeah. And it'll take time, like 4 to 6 months even. This card slowly, a really big change. And it could even be a pivot here for the person to change. They have a real opportunity to completely change their person through this situation, even though it was a really hard situation. And I feel like it'll be a real test, really, which way they want to take it. Okay, but I think some professional counseling might really help. And of course, I can see there's a lot of people pitching in with TLC. This woman in particular, and using her magic here in the situation. Okay, but I feel like there's 2 ways this could go for the person involved directly. And that person will have to decide themselves, how do they want to spin from this? And it will take time, like 4 to 6 months to really figure out. And this was a very big hardship to this person. And I feel like professional counseling is necessary if that's possible for them, so they don't take it all into themselves, because they have a tendency to do that. And that's what these 2 cards were looking like. Their pattern is to take it all internal. It's a pattern of theirs. Sorry about the light here. It's really dark here in Calgary. It's quite stormy. It's been a fairly miserable July. Interesting. Usually we're so hot we need fans on in the house, but no, it's been quite miserable. A few beautiful days. We can't say it was entirely the whole July terrible, but about half of it. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward. I hope we get some sun in the Haida Gwaii. Thank you so much for watching this video. I pulled one more clarifier for the big picture, and I get a success card. I think the big picture here is there's going to be a success come out of this. There's going to be a victory. This is a very personal victory card. I'm going to pull one more to see the outcome for there's a young person I feel like involved, and a woman involved who's a very strong, passionate fire sign woman. I'm going to pull a card for, yeah, so we got the Hangman. The biggest thing to remember with the youth and the young person that was involved in whatever issue, I'm feeling like I'm talking really directly to somebody here, so I'm just going to go with it. There was a young person involved, it feels like, or a secondary person involved in a situation that was quite traumatic, and it's going to be hard to work through, and it's going to need counseling, magic, TLC, magical thinking, but in particular, turning things upside down. So looking at things from a different perspective to become enlightened. So giving this youth, this person, a different way to look at their situation so they don't stay in a victim mode with it. That's what I'm getting. Okay. And the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, it's going to take 4 to 5 months all the way through the process of the healing is what it looks like to me. And the biggest thing to watch for is self-esteem and self-beating up. Yeah, that's going to be the part to really watch for closely in the person's behavior. And, you know, we all go through things like that. When things get tough, sometimes we'll take it out on ourselves, right? And that's something we're all learning not to do. Thank you so much. And do like and share the videos. And subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. Send in your ravens, in particular, whoever was feeling this situation.